Before we begin, I want to invite you to do something simple that makes a big difference. If this message speaks to your heart today, I ask you to click like and subscribe to this channel. You may not realize it, but by doing that, you're helping this word reach someone else who desperately needs encouragement, just like you. So let's walk through this journey of faith together, one step at a time. There are moments in life when you gave everything, your time, your energy, your prayers, and no one noticed. You remained silent, generous, faithful, even when the world offered no applause. But while people overlooked the sacrifices, heaven was watching, and not just watching, recording, weighing, treasuring. Every quiet act of kindness, every time you chose to stay instead of leave, every moment you placed someone else's needs above your own, it was seen. I saw it, says the Lord. And now, the time of silent sowing is drawing to a close. The season is shifting. Heaven's books are being opened, and your name shines in the presence of angels. What you planted in private will be rewarded in public. But don't expect a reward that fades like applause or temporary recognition. No, what I'm bringing into your life is not seasonal, it is eternal. I'm not just handing you blessings. I am establishing a new era in your life, one that no human hand, no circumstance, and no opposition can stop. I've watched you walk through shadows, holding on when everything in you wanted to let go. You carried weights that weren't even yours to bear. You stood strong where others would have collapsed, and though no one else knew the full cost, I did. Every tear you swallowed, every word you held back to protect someone else, every lonely night where you wondered, does anyone see what I'm going through? Heaven saw, and not one detail slipped through my hands. Your process was not punishment, it was preparation. Where others saw failure, I saw formation. I hid you not to forget you, but to preserve you. I kept you in the shadows so your roots could grow deep. Because what I'm building with you will not stand on appearances. It will stand on truth, on maturity, on the firm ground of faith tested by fire. So yes, you were overlooked. Others were celebrated. You were left in silence while others rose. But child, hear me. It wasn't rejection. It was strategy. There's a difference between being hidden by the world and being preserved by heaven. There were moments when you stood in the middle of a crowd, surrounded by noise, but still felt deeply alone. Times when you received words that were supposed to comfort you, but instead only deepened your questions. You tried to stay strong even when the fire of disappointment burned quietly inside you. They laughed at your faith. They doubted your vision. They questioned your intentions. And for a while, even you began to wonder if any of it would ever be worth it. But let me tell you something clearly. Not one single moment was in vain. That prayer you whispered years ago, thinking it vanished into the wind, I was there. That night you cried in silence because you didn't want to burden anyone else, I was there. That time you felt like giving up, but something inside you said, hold on a little longer, that was me. Every decision you made to stay faithful when you had every excuse to quit has been recorded in eternity. It was never just about enduring hardship. It was about being shaped in the waiting. You see, what felt like silence was really me at work, planting, nurturing, preparing the soil of your life. Because before I send the rain, I always prepare the ground. And that's exactly what I've been doing with you.
There were dreams you buried, not because they weren't from me, but because you no longer had the strength to believe in them. There were goals you set aside, not because they were impossible, but because the weight of daily life made them feel distant and unrealistic. There were visions that once made your heart burn, but were slowly drowned by pressure, exhaustion, and the sting of old betrayals. But hear this clearly: I have not forgotten. I am breathing again on what you thought was lost. I'm returning to places inside you that were marked abandoned and lighting them with purpose once more. Those plans weren't canceled, they were postponed for the perfect time. And now, that time is beginning to unfold. This is more than restoration, it's resurrection. I'm not just giving you back what you lost, I'm reviving your ability to dream again, to believe again, to imagine what's possible when it's not just your effort, but my hand guiding every step. Because this time, you won't walk alone. This time, the doors won't open because you push them hard enough. They'll open because I've already gone ahead of you. And every step you take now will come with clarity, with divine alignment, and with favor that has nothing to do with what you deserve, and everything to do with the covenant I made with you long before you saw your first battle.
I'm not just restoring your dreams, I'm realigning your life. What you've been feeling lately isn't confusion. It's a divine shift, a restlessness that no routine can satisfy. Tasks that once made sense now feel hollow. Conversations that used to engage you now feel empty. You've wondered if something is wrong with you, but it's not brokenness, it's direction. You've reached a point where surviving is no longer enough. Your spirit is longing for purpose. And that ache inside your soul isn't weakness, it's me awakening what's been dormant. You weren't made just to get by. You were made to walk in divine purpose, with clarity, conviction, and legacy. You've been faithful in the ordinary. You served when no one watched. You stood still in seasons that drained your strength. And now, I'm leading you into what you were truly made for, the extraordinary. But this shift is not about striving harder. It's about surrendering deeper. Not surrendering your strength, but surrendering your vision, because the one I have for you is higher, fuller, and more eternal than anything you dared to dream. There are decisions you've been hesitant to make, paths you've questioned, commitments you've kept out of fear, not faith. But I am stepping into that confusion and placing order, direction, and discernment in your spirit. No longer will you walk in circles. No longer will you feel disconnected from your own steps. I will guide you with clarity. I will untangle the knots of uncertainty that have clouded your way. And I will not let you drift, because what I placed in your hands has eternal significance. Even the mistakes you thought disqualified you, I am redeeming them. I am weaving every wrong turn, every delay, every painful lesson into the very design I'm building with your life. Nothing will be wasted. And yes, there were seasons of silence, but silence was not rejection. It was formation. I was not absent. I was working in the invisible. I was pouring into your spirit a strength that others couldn't see, a depth that cannot be explained, only revealed in time. And now, that time is near. In the days ahead, you will witness sudden changes. Don't misread them. They won't be losses. They will be transitions. I am removing what no longer supports your next level, not as punishment, but as protection. Some relationships will fade. Some opportunities will close. But don't be afraid, because what I'm building through you requires space. And to make room for the new, I must clear out the old. I'm more interested in your wholeness than your comfort. You're about to meet parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. Versions of you that have been preserved for such a time as this. You weren't ready before, but now you are. Now you're strong enough to carry what I'm about to entrust you with. There will be battles you won't even need to fight, because I myself will go before you. There will be critics, yes, but you won't answer them with words. You'll answer with fruit. Your life will speak louder than any accusation. Your obedience will open doors that no influence could force open. Your testimony will be your greatest weapon, not just for you, but for those who will come after you. Because what I'm doing in you is not just personal, it's generational.
Sometimes the deepest pain is the soil where the greatest blessings are born. After Job endured unimaginable loss, his children, his wealth, his health, and even the support of his closest companions, something extraordinary happened. God did not leave him in that place of sorrow. Instead, the Lord restored Job's fortunes, and not only that, he gave him twice as much as he had before. This wasn't just about material blessings. It was about divine vindication. God was showing that he had never abandoned Job, not for a single moment. His silence was never rejection. It was preparation, a preparation for elevation. Job's life teaches us that your story doesn't end in the valley. The season of loss, pain, and confusion is not permanent. If you remain faithful, even when the skies are dark, God will honor your perseverance. He will turn your mourning into dancing, your ashes into beauty. The end of Job's story is a radiant testimony. The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former. This is a word for you today. You may be going through a silent season, a painful process, or a long night of tears, but God is still writing your story, and the final chapter is not defeat, it's restoration, it's breakthrough, it's divine reward. So hold on, don't give up. What's coming will be so glorious, you'll understand why you had to wait, why you had to cry, why you had to walk through the fire. Because on the other side is a double portion.